This is my honest advice to someone who wants to obtain financial freedom. Now, since it's probably the first time you and I meet, why should you listen to me? My name is Fred and I'm an entrepreneur from a lower middle class background. I went from having only $400 to my name over 5 years ago to making upwards of $1,000 a day at 21, selling services and consulting. Now, ever since I was a child, I dreamed of becoming financially free. Coming from a lower middle class background, I would often hear my parents complaining about the price of gas, electricity, bread, heating, literally of everything. I would see my mother spending hours filling out these online surveys just to get free products at the grocery store in exchange of her opinion. Now, my mother worked a very dangerous night job as a nursing assistant. Alongside with her other female co-workers, they had to deal with very violent patients. They were thugs that got into knife fights, drug dealers, convicted felons, so as you can see, not exactly the friendly type. While my father worked as a nurse, but since many years, he had fallen out of love with his job because he was underpaid and undervalued. He was treated like shit. So while every day I would see my parents struggling, breaking their backs only to earn breadcrumbs, I could see these wealthy kids at school getting driven around in brand new luxurious Mercedes cars. Every year, they would get the latest iPhone, while at the time, I didn't even have a phone, and every morning, I had to force myself to get up super early, even though I was sleep deprived because of how depressed I was. I couldn't sleep properly, just so I could take the crowded bus to go to school. After the summer break, these wealthy kids would tell stories of their vacations to Rome, to Greece, to New York City, and it felt inspiring listening to them, knowing this kind of abundance was possible, knowing you could actually enjoy life, but at the same time, I was jealous because growing up, we never did any of those things with my family. We never went and explored a completely different country because we simply couldn't afford it, even though my mother really wanted to travel. So growing up in this kind of environment, it made me hungry for so much more. I just couldn't see myself living this kind of miserable life, penny pinching, never being able to afford any of the things we wanted for the next 50 years. I needed to do something. I needed financial freedom. The first step to financial freedom is to figure out how much money you would need to earn on a monthly or yearly basis to have the sort of life you're dreaming of right now. So ask yourself, how much would this be for you? Would it be $10,000 per month, $20,000 per month, $50,000 per month? What's that magical number that would allow you to do all the things that you want? Retire your parents, travel around the world in first class, buy a collection of expensive watches if that's what you're into, buy your dream car and drive it on the highway, maybe take your partner out to dinner and pay the bill like it's nothing, or maybe you simply want to be able to wake up in the morning without that constant stress and pressure weighing you down because you know you have to go work a job that you hate, or you have to go study for a degree that you don't even care about. So typically the best way I've found to figure out what that magical number is actually to do a little bit of research. The things that you want, how much will it cost you? So you can figure out how much money you would need per year, and then you can divide that by 12 to figure out your monthly desired income. And you have to keep in mind that you will have to pay taxes, obviously. So how much money would you need to make per month after tax to have the sort of life that you want? Now, just because you set a number doesn't mean you have to limit yourself to that number. But if you don't have a clear target in your mind, it's going to be difficult to move forward because your brain, and more precisely your subconscious mind, will only come up with a viable plan for you to reach your goal if you have a goal in the first place. So just because you say, I want to make $10,000 per month, doesn't mean you can't go any further once you reach that initial target, but it's simply an initial goal. And in life, things happen one step at a time. You won't go overnight from making no money or $2,000 per month with your job to making $50,000 per month. It's a gradual process, and what gets you to $10,000 per month won't necessarily be the same thing that gets you to $100,000 per month. Now, if you want to become financially free, you need to start surrounding yourself with winners, with successful people. Growing up in the lower middle class, I had no one around me who was very successful and whom I could learn from because people around me worked mediocre jobs, they were underpaid, undervalued, treated like shit at work, and while they didn't like it, they tolerated that shitty situation. So because obviously growing up in a small town, less than 10,000 people with no real career opportunities, it's not like I was going to stumble upon a multi-millionaire who could become my mentor. So instead what I did is that luckily, thanks to the internet and social media, I started to surround myself virtually with successful people. So I started by reading their books, watching their free YouTube videos, and as I got older and I had a bit more money in my bank account, I started to invest in myself by working with mentors because I knew alone by myself I won't do much because I don't have the knowledge, I don't have a proven step-by-step process that I follow. A lot of the time, when you struggle and you procrastinate, it's because you don't have a proven step-by-step process to follow. If you did, it removes all the confusion. Procrastination typically comes from a lack of clarity because if you knew exactly what you need to do and you were convinced this is the right path, this will give you what you want, then you would get to work every day because it's only a matter of time before you actually succeed, before you actually get what you want. And I can tell you for a fact, if I hadn't gotten help from certain people at key turning points in my life, I would not be where I am today. I would have never been able to go from being an anxious guy over 5 years ago and anxious to the point I couldn't even leave my parents' house to go for a walk in the neighborhood. Yeah, that's how bad it was. And I only had around $400 in my bank account, to nowadays being extremely confident, waking up in the morning, excited for the day ahead, loving what I do. Maybe you can hear it in my voice, but I actually have a cold. I'm still making a video because I love this work. I love the process. I love helping ambitious individuals to finally make their dreams come true, because it's not that long ago I was in your shoes. For school, I had to do many unpaid internships. I did internships in restaurants, in phone repair companies, in temporary work agencies, in convenience stores, etc. And I wasn't paid, like I said. And every time, it just made me realize how miserable I would be if I worked a regular 9-to-5 job, because I wasn't meant for it. And if you're still watching this video by now, it's most likely because you're not meant for the traditional path either. You are meant to carve your own path. You have the soul of a business owner, of an entrepreneur. You want to be in control of your life. You want to be financially free. So if I hadn't gotten the help from certain people, I would have never been able to nowadays be extremely confident, love what I do, and close $1,000 deals with complete strangers on meetings. So I'm not really going to take all the credit for what I've been able to accomplish. Instead, I really attribute my success to, of course, taking action, believing in myself, but most importantly, to 3 main mentors who really helped me. Without these people, I honestly wouldn't know where I would be right now. Now, if you'd like to discover how I went from struggling financially, only having $400 in my bank account over 5 years ago, to making upwards of $1,000 a day at 21, selling services and consulting, I've recorded a free video in which I share with you everything I did step by step. That way, you can literally just copy me. The link will be in the description below. Or if you're committed to building your business and becoming financially free, you can directly book a free call with me or my team, and we'll see if we can help you. Now, typically, there are 2 main paths to financial freedom: the slow route and the fast route. The slow path is investing, whether it be in the stock market or in real estate. You save up enough money every month, let's say $200 to $500 per month, so you can invest in the stock market or into real estate on the side. Now, real estate is even worse because it's literally a full-time job, but you can somewhat passively invest in the stock market, and sure, if you did that for 30, 40, 50 years, with the compound effect, you would end up wealthier, definitely. So you could retire with a nice pile of cash. But the problem with that method is that if you're solely relying on investing, it will take you decades to start actually seeing results from it. So this means you don't get to enjoy your youth, the best years of your life, because you'll be too busy working so you can invest money in the stock market and also just dealing with everyday life. You'll wake up 2 years from now, you still won't be financially free. You will still be working that dead-end job that you hate, so you won't be building something meaningful in the process. So I'm not saying you can't invest. I'm saying there is a much better way to become financially free if you want to make it happen quickly. If you don't mind waiting 30 to 40 years to finally be financially free, go ahead, invest. I'm not going to stop you. But if you want to make a lot of money in your 20s, in your 30s, there is a much better way to go about things, and it's to start your own online business. Do you really think I would have been able to make upwards of $1,000 a day at 21, 22 if instead of starting my own business, taking responsibility for my financial situation, I just passively invested $200 per month in the stock market? Of course not. I wouldn't be where I am today. When you start a cash flow business, you can print money, literally, because from one month to the next, you can 10x your income. If you wanted to 10x your returns with the stock market, you would either need to wait a long time or 10x the amount of money that you invest. But you have to find a way to come up with that money first. You can't just create it out of thin air, unlike the banks. Which is why I preach starting a business in your 20s, in your 30s, getting to $10,000 per month, scaling it to even a higher level, and then when you start to have a lot of cash in the bank, it makes sense to start investing some of it, because if you don't, just like the poor and the middle class, you will lose a huge chunk of it every year due to inflation and many other factors. Now, you need to be careful, because not every business opportunity is the same. If you were to start a business like dropshipping with paid ads, if you made $10,000, you would only keep between $900 to $2,000. Why? Because typically in e-commerce, and especially dropshipping, profit margins are extremely thin. You would keep between 9% on the low end up to 20% on the high end, and that's before you even pay taxes. You'll have to pay corporate tax as a company, which in most countries is typically going to be about 25%. So after you've paid your corporate tax on the $10,000 you made initially with dropshipping, you would only keep $675 up to 1.5k. And if you want to use that money to make personal transactions, you will need to again pay taxes like income tax as an individual this time. Meaning, at the end of the month, sure, you made $10,000 initially, but if we do the math, you are more broke than somebody working at a fast food joint. Instead, the best business model for beginners, and even regardless of your level, is to sell services and consulting online. It's with that same business model I've been able to make upwards of $1,000 a day at 21 and 22. You could charge anywhere from $500 up to $5,000 per customer, and profit margins are typically between 80% all the way up to 98%. So if you made $10,000 in in a month initially, you would keep before taxes $8,000 up to $9,998. Whereas with dropshipping, remember, you would only keep $900 up to $2,000 before taxes. And the problem when you do something like dropshipping is that you're essentially reselling the same shitty physical products from AliExpress or Wish as everybody else. So somebody can literally come in overnight, they steal your entire product, website, they literally replicate everything you've done, they sell the same brand and they copy all of your ads, and because they have more money to spend on ads, they can out-earn you and put you out of business. Not to mention that even if you were successful with your dropshipping store, because it's based around a trend, what people call a winning product, like fidget spinners, rose bears, or some kind of cool lamps, you get my point, when the trend dies, and it does very quickly, you need to reopen another Shopify store based around another product. And so you never build a real long-term brand with a loyal customer base who will recommend your products to their friends and family. And that is the secret of billion-dollar e-com companies. Do you think Amazon.com or Alibaba.com would be so successful if they literally kept closing the company to reopen another one literally every month? No, because they wouldn't benefit from the compound effect. But when you sell services or consulting online, because you work on that business consistently, results compound over time. And since profit margins are extremely high, you would only need a few customers to quit your job, and it's infinitely easier to convince a few people to pay you a certain amount of money, let's say $2,000 every month, as opposed to having to convince 250 people to buy something for $50. You know, the same crappy AliExpress product they can find for cheaper on other websites. So look, you need to make a choice. You can keep watching YouTube videos on how to make money online, but doing that won't make you more money. Or if you're committed to building your business and becoming financially free, getting the life that you deserve, you can check out the free resources in the description below or directly book a free call with me or my team and we'll see if we can help you. That being said, if you found this video helpful, share it with a friend, and together let's blow up this YouTube channel to empower ambitious individuals across the globe to become financially free.